So you're getting straight hair again today because I decided I was going to try blowing out my hair instead of flat ironing it. Basically, it didn't go so well and ended up flat ironing it anyway, but that was kind of a failed experiment. But that has nothing to do with today's video because today I'm here to finally film my Rain Wilds review and discussion videos. I've also not prepared for this video in any way. Nope, didn't script anything. So we're just gonna go off the cuff and hopefully it will turn out okay. If anything else, hopefully it'll be entertaining for you guys. Hello everyone, it is Samantha. I hope you guys are having a great day. As I said, today I am here to film the much anticipated Rain Wilds discussion and review video. Long overdue. I meant to film this last weekend. Didn't happen, so here I am to do it today. And as I said in the intro, I haven't prepared for this in any way because I'm lazy and I didn't think about what I was going to say. So we're just gonna do this off the cuff and hopefully it will turn out alright. Let us now dive into this book review video. So the Rain Wilds Chronicles is a 4-book series by Robin Hobb. It is the 4th series set in her land of the Elderlings, and it takes place shortly after the events of the Tawny Man trilogy, maybe a year or two after, and it spans over the course of about 5 to 7 years. The series consists of 4 books. It consists of Dragon Keeper, Dragon Haven, City of Dragons, and Blood of Dragons. This book series features a very wide and diverse cast of characters. It follows multiple character perspectives from Thymara, who's a young Rain Wilds girl who has been heavily changed by the Rain Wilds, so she has a lot of scaling and she has claws instead of nails, things like that. Kind of shunned by the other Rain Wilders because she is so heavily changed. It also follows Elise Kincairn, who is a Bingtown trader and kind of a self-entitled expert and scholar on dragons and elderlings because she has devoted her life to studying dragons and elderlings. It also follows Cedric, who ends up accompanying Elise up the Rain Wilds River on her adventure, and he is actually a queer character, and he is a secretary to her husband Hest as well as his lover. It also follows Captain Leftrin, who is the captain of the oldest live ship, the Tarman, which is a barge that travels up and down the Rain Wilds River. And in the later books, you also end up getting perspectives from Malta and Rain Kupris, who appeared in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, as well as Selden, who also appeared in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. In addition to these characters, it also follows all of the young dragon hatchlings who we know hatched at the end of the Live Ship Traders series. So it has a very diverse range of characters, very diverse, it also has a wide cast, different character perspectives, things like that. The story basically follows the young Rain Wilders, such as Thymara and a bunch of other youngsters who have been heavily changed by the Rain Wilds. They have been tasked by the Council and the Rain Wilds to accompany the dragons to the fabled city of Kelsingra, this fabled elderling city that their dragons hope still exist. They need to accompany the dragons because these young dragons were hatched, deformed, and stunted. Their growth was stunted. None of them can fly. They can't hunt for themselves. And basically the Rain Wilders are having a hard time feeding these dragons and having a hard time excavating the city that these dragons are sitting over. There's a lot of different political things kind of influencing this trip at the Rain Wilds River, but basically the Rain Wilders want to get rid of the dragons because Tintaglia has taken off and she's not helping care for them. So these young Rain Wilders are cast to be the dragons' keepers and to follow them up the Rain Wild River. Leftrin and his crew of the Tarman are also tasked with accompanying these dragons up the river to help find this fabled city of Kelsingra. And Elise Fimbach ends up getting herself to accompany them as well because she ends up revealing that she is a scholar in elderlings and dragons. Basically, she's trying to find her own life in her adventure and get away from her abusive husband in Bingtown. Cedric, her husband's secretary and lover and Elise's childhood friend, ends up accompanying Elise up the river as well, rather unwillingly, and he kind of has his own plans for this trip that are a little bit devious. So together, all of these characters, including the dragons, end up traveling up the Rain Wilds River to find the city. And this story, this book series, it basically follows these characters and their struggles and the events that unfold, the secrets that come out, and just basically their struggles together. It also later on features Elise's husband Hest back in Bigtown, as well as Malta and Rain Kupris, and Selden and what is going on with Selden and where he has been, because he has been missing for several years by the time this book starts. Overall, this is not my favorite series by Robin Hobb. I would rate it about 3.5 stars. It's still good, it's just not my favorite book series by her. In general though, for each book I ended up rating the first book 3 stars, I ended up rating Dragon Haven 4 stars, I rated City of Dragons 4 stars, and I rated Blood of Dragons 3.5 stars. I do enjoy the fact that she has a diverse range of characters. I like that she ends up introducing queer characters. Cedric isn't the only queer character that she introduces in this series. She also introduces Hest, as well as the hunters Carson and his nephew, and one of the keepers, and she examines basically the cultural and societal implications of living in a society that kind of oppresses homosexuality and the effect that that has on these individuals as well as the people around them. And I think think that she wrote it really well. Robin Hobb is not afraid to tackle different social ideas and struggles that exist within a society. So in all of her book series, she has handled anything from queer characters to slavery to feminism to other topics that I can't even think of right now, and examining them from all types of perspectives. She kind of includes everything in her books. I mean, they're fantasy, but they're more than that. She definitely does a lot of character examination, and she will examine it from every point of view, from people who are racist and bigoted against other types to the people who are being oppressed and repressed. So I think that that is something fantastic about her books that she handles quite well, how she's not afraid to tackle these topics and to examine them from all points of view. Cedric himself actually becomes one of my favorite characters in this book series. His character growth is amazing. From the time the first book to the fourth book, his character growth is just astounding. He's like almost a completely different person, how he kind of grows into himself and discovers love, and it is just fantastic. That's like Elise and how she kind of wanted to stand up for herself, and she believed in learning and wanted to do what she wanted to do and living her life and following her dreams, and how she just kind of took her life into her hands and wanted to find her own happiness. The story itself is not my favorite by her. It is definitely the slowest paced story by her, I think, so far. A lot of it, particularly in the first couple books, felt extremely repetitive. Like, I felt like the second book probably didn't really have to be here because not a whole lot happened that was different from this book. Some stuff did, but it just didn't really quite captivate my attention the way that her other series have in the past. The writing was still really, really well done. She has just a way of using the English language to create such a beautiful and picturesque view of this world. So she really, really captivates your attention and gets you immersed in the story and feeling for these characters. It just wasn't my favorite story of hers. I just did not feel totally connected to all of the characters. I found myself not really much caring about what was going to happen to some of them, and also being slightly irritated with most of the characters as well, so it just wasn't my favorite story. As for some of the things I did like, I really liked that she had such a diverse range of characters in this series. I also really liked Captain Leftrin of the life ship Tarman. He was fantastic, kind of this swashbuckling captain of this barge ship who had like a no-nonsense attitude towards others. He was just going to live his life the way that he felt he should live it, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this series was the fact that we got to learn a lot more about the Elderlings in this book series, a lot more about their cities and who these people really were, and how the dragons and the Elderlings lived alongside one another. So all the little tantalizing bits we've gotten hinted at in the Farseer trilogy, the Time Man trilogy, the Life Ship Traders trilogy, we definitely learned a lot more about them in this series, which I thought was fantastic. She's definitely continuing to develop the world and give us more information, which I think is great. That was probably one of my favorite things about this book, was just the information that we got out of it. I don't think it's a series that I would probably reread by her. It might be one that I would skip, but I'm definitely glad I read it because you get a lot of back history on the world that these characters live in and what happened to them. The dragons themselves are hilarious. I really like all of their diverse range of personalities and just how they interact with one another and their thoughts and their feelings. She really, really examined that and just how they kind of develop and how they view their world. So I really liked how she focused on the dragons more and gave them a lot of chapters based on their perspectives in the series. That was definitely one of my favorite things about this book series. As for other things I didn't much care for, I feel like the series was really heavily focused on relationships. I felt like most of the books were like, who's going to hook up with who? Oh, love triangle kind of thing kind of ended up happening in this series too, between Thamara and two of the other characters, and I didn't much care for that, and I thought that was kind of annoying. I didn't much care for Thamara as a character either, or really most of the keepers I didn't much care for. They all kind of got on my nerves after a while, so I really had a hard time with this book series because I didn't connect to any of the characters or care about a lot of their fates. I did with some of them, such as Cedric and Elise and Captain Leftrin, but a lot of them just kind of left me feeling a little bit like blah. I also felt like this series could have been a lot shorter. It is a 4-book series. I do remember reading that it was supposed to be 2, but the publisher had her split it into 4. But regardless, I feel like this book series could have been 2 books at most. I felt like a lot of it was definitely repetitive and it didn't have to be in there, and it felt like filler, I guess I would say. So though it was good, it was not my favorite. I definitely recommend that you check it out if you are reading Robin Hobb's books, just for the back history that you get on the characters, and some of these events I believe lead into the next trilogy that she's currently writing, the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, but not a whole lot from what I've heard. I don't know yet, so I haven't read it. I think some of the events from the series are referenced, and the way that it ends, you can definitely tell it's probably going to go into the Fitz and the Fool books, just the way that things are left in this world, if that makes any sense. So I guess to summarize, basically what I really enjoyed about this book series was the back history we got in the characters. and the world that they live in. I really like that she introduced queer characters. Things I didn't much care about it were the fact that it was quite repetitive and slow-paced, that not a lot happened, that a lot of the characters were very difficult to connect to because they were rather irritating in some places. Though I am still a huge Robin Hobb fangirl, I am not afraid to say this is not her best series by her. Still good, not my best. Again, I would rate him about 3.5 out of 5 stars. Alright guys, that is it for today's Rain Wilds Chronicles review and discussion video. I hope that you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to answer them. I have done a Robin Hobb author highlights video where I kind of go over her works and where you should start and things of that nature, and I will link it down below in case you guys are curious about that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, happy reading! Bye!